This is Sybert signing back into Red Alert 3 on the map. Carville, not for a 2v2v2, but instead for a 6-player FFA. In the top right-hand corner as the Cyan Empire, this is ledauphin, who someone pointed out is apparently French, and it just literally means the dolphin, so that's one of those words very similar between the two languages. As the Orange Soviets, this is LiamTW. Liam, the Orange Soviets, and as the Red, this is ROCKYHARDINGTON, which is not the worst name I've ever seen, but Mr. Rocky. And as the Purple, this is Tipsy. Looks like we've got triple barracks versus double barracks, some potential for some real infantry action, so let's round out these intros as the Green Allies, going for lots of walls. This is ID 234. And the man, the myth, the legend. You know him, you love him. This is C9Q9MD. Back on Carville for another ridiculous game. Of course, a 6-player FFA, and just to note, this is 10k starting resources, so this is not 40k or anything like that. Okay, MCV off the line, coming for those crushes. One advantage of those Empire cores is you can get your MCV out on the move a little bit quicker. Well, let's see what happens, because Tipsy could be ending Rocky pretty darn early, or could be the reverse. Multi-gunner turret getting some good damage off on this MCV, and there goes the Engineer. The Imperial Warriors making short work of those shotgun-wielding Peacekeepers. There's a sell-off of basically everything, and the run to the water, perhaps, for Rocky, our Red allied player, and he is just off into the corner. Meanwhile, the Dolphin is losing his dojo in the top left-hand corner. The Dog getting the kill there. And goodbye, allies. Meanwhile, already a little bit of pressure. Not a lot from Liam. He's taken the buildings. He's taken the oil derrick. And wait. So there was a war factory here. I was almost like, is this a sudden transport? But of course it's unpacked. All right, Engineer Terror Drone and a Flak Trooper. That's a perfect combination, although the Engineer does get sniped. The Terror Drone also gets sniped, and everything else just gets locked down, it looks like, by a dog. So that actually didn't work out nearly as well as it could have, but between the Terror Drone, the Flak Troopers, and the Engineer, you kind of have a perfect MCV hit squad. You're either going to capture it, it's going to transform and you can stasis it, or you just infect it on the transform. And that's, in theory, a perfect MCV hit squad. All right, so right out of the gate, C9Q9MD, he goes for double MCV. Of course, this puts him pretty far behind, but now he's got 3 refineries and an oil derrick. Liam recognizing, I think, that there's some real shenanigans going on in the south side of the map, and he is going to do what he can to shut it down. Double multi-gunner turret, though. That's a powerful thing to stop 2 sickles pretty darn easily. Mr. Rocky setting up here in the water. Classic spot for whoever spawns in the southern section of the island. The building's still under control, but the double sickle did get eliminated. And C9Q9MD, he's going to be rocking that double MCV life, at least for a little while. Goes into the airfield, so he's not totally memeing. He is going to get some actual units, we think. I mean, maybe he won't. Maybe the airfield is just for show to get higher tech stuff. Oh, I love this from Liam, trying a couple of different angles. It's not going to work out. I mean, there's a Riptide here, there's a multi-gunner turret deployed, but I love the attempt from Liam. He's at least trying some different things. His goal isn't like, I'm just going to try and make stuff and attack you. It probably isn't going to work very well against C9Q9MD, so you can try it, but like maybe it won't work. So I love that Liam is trying some different stuff around the edges of what might work strategically. Multi-gunner turret and a barracks here for ID. Going to be pressuring the Dolphin, but there's the big transform of those Tengus. Trying to get that honorable discharge damage onto that multi-gunner turret. And he will do a bit of damage there. Gets a pretty good damage on the barracks as well. Meanwhile, C9 now double turret pushing Liam, and this might be the end for our Soviet players' southern expansion. A little bit of anti-air going on out over the water. Command Hub hasn't totally been shut down. ID with a very strong expansion here in the north part of the map. Also grabbed this oil derrick early on, but it looks like Tipsy has grabbed that one back. More multi-gunner turrets getting deployed, just cleaning up these buildings, continuing to push the Soviet presence further and further north. And it looks like an additional war factory, or perhaps I guess this would have to be the second war factory. But second war factory getting deployed in the north. Rocky has reestablished himself very weakly out on the water. Only one refinery of economy, not much at all. And the Tengus, it looks like, all got shut down. So Ledauphin, the Dolphy boy, is in a lot of trouble. Double multi-gunner turret, javelin troopers as well. 4 Apollos hanging out over top of his base. A real trouble in Dolphin Town for him. Bridges got cleaned up. It looks like one of them maybe cleaned up from the inside and one of them cleaned up from the outside. Perhaps ID didn't want any pressure coming in against him from the island. More multi-gunner turrets coming up for C9Q9MD. The base push continues, and C9 with only 2 MCVs. I'm kind of surprised he doesn't have a third MCV, to be perfectly honest. I'm surprised this guy is just doing a lame old double MCV turret push. And apparently, I mean, you get the whack-a-mole of allied building construction, so you've got that to your advantage. You've got some cryo shots as well. Meanwhile, ID is doing not the same thing, but a similar thing in the north and having pretty good success with it. Sputnik going to be carrying Liam to the top left corner. He was hoping that was going to be largely untouched. He's about to learn that it's already heavily occupied, and this Twin Blade nearly getting sniped by those Apollos. No, actually, the Apollos don't care. Perhaps somewhat incorrectly they don't care, but for one reason or another, they just didn't bother with that Twin Blade. Tengu harass coming in from Tipsy. He's leaving the island and going to poke out on to the other parts of the map. Refinery gets shut down. Reactor gets shut down, but the super reactor, it's wearing the wrong color paint as C9Q9MD decides to take that fellow over. And Liam has been defeated, getting knocked out of the right side of the map and not being able to expand up to the north. Unfortunately for Liam, our first player to fall. A lot of infantry, a lot of Tengus coming out from the Dolphin, and he is heading to the top left to attack ID, which is maybe problematic. I mean, when you've got this much allies coming at you from the south, it might be a bit bad to move your entire army out of your base and go and attack some other guy. In this particular case, Ledauphin may be a little bit vulnerable when eventually the MCV rolls up for C9Q9MD. I love that he's got at least some walls around here. If he completely walls that in to try and keep it from engineers, that would be a nice move for him. Keep that super reactor around, and C9Q9MD may actually go out into the water instead to try and kill off Rocky, since Rocky is the closest to him and the potential of a threat. And of course, we don't have the in-game chat, so we can't tell exactly what these folks are saying. It is possible there is an informal agreement between Rocky and C9, both as allied players, going to be joining together in close proximity to each other. Oh, I saw just the little bit of the blue whip, and I was like, wait, is that a Rocket Angel? And I was so excited, but of course it was just the Wave Force Artillery firing off somewhat prematurely. ID drops a war factory. He's going to try and defend this location. He's got 6 refineries, 3 oil derricks under his control, maybe even 7 refineries, 1 out there on the water as the multi-gunner turrets get overwhelmed. But the IFVs stand for just a moment, and Riptide is really the only thing produced by this war factory before the tank busters, the Tengus, and the Wave and the Imperial Warriors cut it down. The Wave Force Artillery continuing to wail away in the middle of the map with the help of the Tsunami tanks. It looks like Rocky is going to be knocked out of this game. He's still got his MCV, and that is all he's got to his name. Who knows how much cash he's got in the bank. He may not even be able to get up another refinery. In that case, his only chance would be to get a barracks up, get an engineer out, but that's still going to cost you a bit of cash, and then try and capture an oil derrick or a refinery away from your opponent. Or exclusively capture buildings that cost more than the engineer to sell off, or buildings that you get more than the engineer when you sell them off, and try and fund your army that way. It would take a long, long time, but I guess that is one potential way to do that. All right, ledauphin starting to close in on the base of ID 234. The second expansion, or the first expansion, rather, of ID 234. Let's see if he holds. Meanwhile, back home, C9 closing in on the Dolphins' main base. The pressure is on. The Dolphin keeps the attack up against the Green Allies player. Meanwhile, getting base push, triple multi-gunner turret inside of his base. And C9Q9MD is going to slowly make his way around the map like the opposite of a clock, or clock running in reverse, to clear out all who oppose him. How many MCVs does this guy have? I think it's 3. It looks like it might be 3. He's got 3 MCV and like 2 Apollos, 3 Apollos and a Vindicator. So this guy has more buildings than he has units by like a factor of 10. That's another MCV, and that's a Proton Collider just getting added to the game. Okay, Tipsy is looking powerful. Tipsy's got a giant Tengu army. Tengus don't do great against multi-gunner turrets, but when you've got this many of them, when you've got point defense drones, you can indeed cut down multi-gunner turrets reasonably quickly. He's taken a decent amount of damage, but he's got so many Tengus that losing a couple on the flyover is not that big a deal. He's going to transform and jump on the MCV. Rocky has been defeated. Dr. Hardington is out of the building. The MCV goes down almost in record time as ID loses his Conyard, but not his hopes of life. Unlike ledauphin, who's going to be taking a Spectrum Tower to the face with this refinery, and this MCV now on the run. The War Factory just gets wholesale removed. He sells it off, and he's like, I am out of here. The Dolphin may have to escape to the water and find a new place to live. C9 really living up to his allies' reputation with that move. He's like, hey, you know these sea creatures, we can kill them off, and he is going to do it. He's taken over the main base, now under the control of like 8 refineries. C9Q9MD, a powerhouse of economy, but of course that doesn't mean much. This guy is into the meme strategies, and he might just draft a barracks, or 100 barracks, and build nothing but dogs and try to win the game with dogs or engineers and go for mass caps of buildings. So don't look away too soon, because C9Q9MD might find himself losing this game despite having the winning economy. ID 234, he's out of the corner of the map. Tipsy and ID both going to be fighting each other for perhaps another couple of minutes, but it looks like Tipsy is winning that fight overall. And ledauphin, no, he is not escaping out to the water. A giant mass of tank busters. He's going to be able to cut down perhaps this. Oh, man. Wow. When you move slowly, the scariest thing is an icicle beam coming from the sky. But only a couple of them go down to that. The multi-gunner turrets could be jumped on from this northern path, and then the chronosphere after that. One multi-gunner turret goes down very quickly, and if these tank busters set upon this chronosphere, this is going to be an insane amount of DPS. Emperor's Rage has worn off, but the tank busters standing strong for a couple more rounds. They're not going to survive against the mass numbers of base defenses, but they will survive long enough to kill that chronosphere. A couple more shots and they should get it. That Spectrum Tower doing what it can. But ultimately, C9, with 3 minutes on the clock of the Proton Collider, loses his chronosphere. Meanwhile, Tipsy getting pushed back, but Tipsy still has 2 refineries, 2 oil derricks. So that's a bit of income. It's not nearly what you'd want, you know. C9's sitting over there with like 12 refineries or something. Even Tipsy with 6 refineries, a 7th one out here on the water, 2 oil derricks, it looks like. Yeah, Tipsy is looking pretty good. C9 may actually end up spending himself out of cash on all of these base defenses, on all of these power plants. But my gosh, this guy has an insane amount of buildings. I think he's literally just going to kill everyone with buildings. He's got Vindicator and 3 Apollos just in case. I think there's sort of like an insurance policy if he needs to quickly kill off some engineers or, you know, something else. He doesn't want a bunch of chopper VXs to show up and just shred his base basically for free. Or maybe he's worried about Kirovs, although the Soviet player is already out of the game, so no Kirovs. These rocks could be pretty dangerous, though. ID and Tipsy, if one went the northern route and one went the southern route, they could definitely do some damage to C9. I was going to say they could definitely kill C9, but no, not definitely kill C9. They could probably kill C9 if they joined forces, but instead Tipsy and ID are still fighting each other a little bit. Whoa, what happened here? 5 multi-gunner turrets deployed nearly simultaneously as Tipsy finds himself with a bit of a problem. That bridge that he thought so securely destroyed has actually been reconstructed. C9Q9MD has made a presence for himself on the center island of this map, and as all this purple converges on the north, we'll see the showdown we've been waiting for. Tipsy and C9Q9MD. Tipsy might want to try circling around. He's actually going to be leaving the island with many of his Tengus, and he's spent so much cash on Tengus that he doesn't have, never mind. There's his ground army. We finally found it. It's all in King Oni's. 4 multi-gunner turrets going down. Cryogeddon fires off. Going to be able to catch a couple of these tsunami tanks. And there are the Apollos showing up to clear the skies. And that's the help that C9 needed. So many Tengus showing up. And this MCV is not long for this world as the point defense drones expire. But C9Q9MD, he's like the Hydra. He's got 1 more MCV where that one came from, and 2 to replace it for dying. C9Q9MD gets kicked out of the center, but he gains an oil derrick, which might actually be enough of a benefit. Wait a second. What in the... Oh! Oh! The bait! I did not even see that coming. I legitimately almost missed that. I forgot about the countdown clock. I was so distracted by the fact this bridge didn't die. That is one of the highest value Proton Collider attacks I have ever seen. That was insane value for C9Q9MD. And I guess when you have a ground army that just gets deleted in 1 second, it's kind of hard to do anything else with it. I'm really curious about this bridge. Either Tipsy just pulled off like the greatest hold command micro that we've ever seen, or there's that bridge is bugged for one reason or another. Sentry bombers coming in and clearing out some refineries, some power plants, not maybe a couple of buildings as well, and the sentry bombers mostly escape. One of them ended up going down, but from the over here, the MCV gets deployed, and Tipsy is selling off almost everything. He might be full fire sailing out of the game. He is clearing out a huge amount of his buildings. He's got Wave Force artillery moving in. He's going to be able to clear up these multi-gunner turrets and the MCVs. No, Tipsy's gone. Tipsy just leaves. He was moving his units into position as if he was going to attack, but then he decided not to, and C9Q9MD will potentially take back over this base. Kind of crazy that ledauphin, the Dolphin with just 1 refinery, an MCV, a barracks, and a power plant, lasted longer than Tipsy in this game. I mean, he's not really a threat to C9Q9MD, and now it's coming down to ID234 and C9Q9MD. ID could take this refinery pretty easily. I think that's what he's about to do, and then that will give him 4 refineries, the potential for 2 more in the corner, and 3 oil derricks, which isn't a lot of money, but some Athena cannons, some Mirage tanks, you can crush through a lot of buildings. with Athena cannons and a Mirage tanks, maybe even a couple of IFVs or Apollos providing overwatch. And then the only thing you have to watch out for is the Cryogeddon, is the Proton Collider. You got to watch out for those clicky clicks that'll get you from the sky. Triple multi-gunner turret to go ahead and lock down that MCV, prevent it from deploying. 3, 4. How many? 5, 6, 7 in total? Like one on the middle? 7, maybe 8 MCVs for C9Q9MD. Yeah, there's an 8th at least. So 8 MCVs, C9Q9MD, you let this guy get powered up, and this is the stuff that he brings. The Dolphin is still in this game. He's got this refinery. He's just cranking out cash. You need like 10 rounds for that refinery to pay for itself, but it's probably going to get it. The Proton Collider with 2.5 minutes on the clock is going to get eliminated. Goodbye, the Sentry Bombers earning their stripes, and now the power plant's going to be getting assaulted. The Mirage tanks, the Guardians, are here to do nothing? I don't know. I thought they were going to, like, kill the power plants and stuff, but they really weren't too interested in that. The refinery gets attacked. Ledauphin doing what he can. He's like, I've got this, don't worry. As ID takes another refinery there out on the water. The bridge stays together long enough for those units to cross, and that Peacekeeper barely gets the kill, saving C9Q9MD from the terror of that tank buster. All right, a small group of units makes their way to the island. Chronosphere, with 3 minutes left, just gets deployed for C9Q9MD. And oh, it's here in the corner of the map near ID's original main base, and ID is actually getting pushed out. ID did not get the opportunity to actually establish anything there, as ID, it mostly dodges that Cryogeddon. I mean, he gets one Guardian tank, but all things considered, that's a price to pay that you are happy to pay. That's a price you're happy to pay with, well, never mind, actually. The power plant goes down barely, but literally like a Hydra to come up to replace it, and I guess that is what happens when ID kills one power plant. The MCV will be getting targeted down. These Sentry Bombers in groups of 4 can break almost any building in the game. Actually, they can. I don't think there's a building that can survive 4. I think there are some buildings that get 3, or is 3 how many you actually need and you bring 4 for insurance? It's one of those two things. But okay, we actually might have a Eureka Rush or something similar coming out from Ledauphin. It's kind of weird to call it a Eureka Rush, but he has 2 refineries and 1 power plant, so it is almost a similar build order to a Eureka Rush. And C9Q9MD, everyone else out here playing strategy war games, Red Alert 3. C9, he's playing Sim City. He has got the mass buildings. His road layout is a little bit meh, and I'm not sure that his citizens will be tremendously happy, but he is playing a different kind of game from everyone else. Lots of power, lots of electricity to go around for his citizens. Sentry Bombers coming in here to clean up the Conyard. They don't quite get the kill there, as ID has been defeated. What is he going for? He's just sitting on this island. He's like literally in the lion's den. And ID, he's out of the game, but Ledauphin, the strongest one of them all, he's here to do something. I don't know what his hope is, but he's still in this for one reason or another. ID just packing it in. We didn't get to see the epic showdown between ID and C9Q9MD. He did kind of try, but the multi-gunner turrets sort of got the best of him, and in this particular case, there's going to have to be some kind of real amazing strategy that we've never really seen before. Coming out from Ledauphin. Don't try this build on ladder. Although someone in the comments did just recently say that all a Soviet player has to do to beat an Allies is build a couple of Kirovs. I don't know why Liam didn't just do that. He should have built a couple of Kirovs, and then he Chronos his own MCV right next to ledauphin. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rockets come up all at once. The multi-gunner turrets, the cryocannon going to tear this base apart. Freezes his own multi-gunner turret. Could you ask for any more than this? ledauphin, the last man standing. He's got his refinery. He can build harvesters. The comeback is here for ledauphin. And C9, he's gonna drop a power plant. I don't know. He's got something going on. C9 currently sitting at 40 grand, and he's got 3. So he's built 13 MCVs, and he's only lost. He lost number 11, and then like 2, 3, 4. So I think he's lost 4 of them. So he's got 9 active MCVs right now. Although the ones that are moving may be deceiving us a little bit. All right, C9Q9MD with the double expand going to the water, going to the high ground as well, dropping 2 refineries fully constructed, and then he's just going to move on with it. Multi-gunner turrets surrounding the building, surrounding the dolphin, and shooting everything he's got. That'll do it as C9Q9MD takes the game with an unusual strategy, to be sure, and that will do it for this. Oh, it looks like the units tab at the very least is bugged. The other ones may not be, but C9Q9MD, that's a lot of structures. 112 somewhere up here near the top, and everyone else somewhere down here around 20 structures by comparison. And actually, Tipsy, check that out. For the first minute, for the first half of the game, while Tipsy was in the game, on par, even a little bit ahead of C9Q9MD. So Tipsy really pulling his own weight in this particular match. 300,000 credits, though, for C9. And that'll do it for this game, for this video. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the joke games coming out from C9. And this is Sybert, signing out.